everybody, and Merry Christmas! Today is the Christmas and Santa gave me some sweater, a lovely pink sweater, and a new pants. And I have a new purple padding there. And I have a lot of present boxes so I can use to clean up. Oh, and I wake up at 7 o'clock to look at my present, and I look at a table and there's nothing. So, I think Santa had forgotten me, and I'll go to a bedroom, but I look there at a Christmas tree. They have some presents. So I open it and have these lovely clothes. And what do you have for your present? And today we'll read Magic Treehouse stories. Civil War on Sunday, and we can illustrate 4 at a chapter 7, Helping Hands, and then we're reading a chapter 9, okay? And are you read these 2 books and 2 stories and meet some lost one book and 3 stories, okay? And now here we go. First, Magic Treehouse Civil War on Sunday. Chapter 7, Helping Hands. The firing came to an end. The horses climbed down. The smoky air began to clear. Clara handed Jack and Annie each a canteen. "Fill this quickly," she said. "We have no time to waste." And Jack's legs felt wobbly as he followed Annie to a creek, and they filled their canteens and then climbed back into a wagon. "Keep alert," said Clara, who looked forward and wondered if they come from a battlefield. She snapped their reins. The horses started off again. They looked bumped along. Jack looked ahead for Dundle soldiers. "There," said Annie. She pointed to a man limping toward them and waving their arms. And the man looked very young, more like a teen boy. His uniform was torn and bloody. It wasn't a blue uniform, though it was gray. Clara pulled the horses to a stop. "But he's a Camford soldier," said Jack. "Oh yeah," Jack and Annie founded at a Pennsylvania book. "And a blue uniform will be some blah 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 soldiers, and a gray uniform will be the blah 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 soldiers, and it's a different soldiers. And when it's a different uniform means different soldiers. And when some is hurt, you give a helping hand no matter who there are," said Clara. Her voice got softer. "I've seen a courage and kindness on both of the sides of this war. Sometimes things are not simple as they seem." And Jack was glad that some stopped to help a soldier. He jumped out of a wagon. "Do you need a helping hand?" he said the young man. "Thank you," said a soldier softly. And Jack helped him in the back of the wagon, and the soldier lay down in a pile of the blankets and closed his eyes. And Jack climbed back into a seat beside Clara. She snapped the reins and they rode on. And they came across more wagons in the resting of a shade of an oak tree. This all soldiers wore blue uniforms. Again, Clara stopped the horses. "See if any of those men need a ride at the hospital," she said to Jack and Annie. And Jack glanced at a soldier sleeping to a back of the wagon. "Can a complicated and an unknown soldier buy together?" he said worriedly. Clara nodded. "Sometimes the man is simply too sick and tired to be animals anymore," she said. "Sometimes they know each other. Many families and friendships have been thrown or put by in war." "Let's go," said Annie, hopping out of the wagon, and Jack followed her. And they carried in the canteens to a man under an oak tree. "Hi," said Annie. "Does everyone need to go to a hospital?" Only John and a drummer boy, said a soldier, and he's suffering from a heat stroke, but he in need from a water mist. And Jack saw a young boy lying on the ground. His eyes are closed. Oh, Jack, whispered Annie, he looks just like you. And the boy did look like a lot of Jack, and just a few years older. We'd better get him to Clara's ambulance right away, Annie said. She handed it to a candidate of a tired soldiers. Another soldier lifted a drummer boy to feet. And the boy opened his eyes and mumbled a few words. He tried to walk, but he said if there is about to faint. Wait, grumbled the boy. And we grumbled you from helping hand, he said, and the drummer boy put arms around Jack and Annie's soldiers. Just like a little further, John, Annie said. You're doing great, just like a little further, drummer boy. Move it as if were walking in his sleep, and he hadn't hung down, his feet shivering in the dust. Take a good care of him, said one man called. We didn't look out him. Now chapter 8, brothers. Clara Burton have turned it in the wagon around, and she helped it. Jack and Annie walks around, and she helped Jack and Annie lift a drummer and boy in the back, and the soldiers would be sitting in a stroke, said Annie to Clara. His name is John, and the boy lay down and into a sleeping comforted soldier. He does have a heat stroke, Clara said. The other boy also have a high fever. We must get them to hospital at once. Can you two stay back in the wagon, as I tell you? Sure, said Jack and Annie. Clara damped in the clean clothes of the water from a Jack's canteen. Gently plastered his clothes around their faces to cool them off, she said. And she went in the front of the wagon and climbed in. And the wagon steered forward, and Jack said gently, patted in the soldier's face with the damp clothes. And Jack looked at a young man lying on a side by side. The two seemed more like and that different. In another time to that place, they might have been friends, Jack thought. Finally, the wagon arrived at a field hospital. They comforted the soldiers into a stretcher and then carried to the tent. And two soldiers are wearing a bandages and a drummer and a scratcher. Could you stay in the John a while, Clara Barton said to Jack and Annie. Sure, said Jack. Try to bring down his flavor, Clara said. Our nurse will give an ice pack and press it against the skin. Find me the flavor lower, and the drum boy carried it to an empty tent, and Jack and Annie followed. A John was put in the coat, and the nurses by the rags and a bucket filled with an ice. Jack and Annie were left alone at the boy, and Jack waxed from ice in the rag. He pressed an ice pack against a boy's head and neck to arms, and Annie fainted there to John and off they had keep away the flies. And Jack was hard to press and an ice pack against his own face in a moment. They have the drummer boys in a Civil War book he read. A Civil War was a last war to see drummer boys. A trumpet was look like orders and soldiers and different beats into them, and to eat how to march, even how to fight. A smoky battlefield, and the boys drumming to help and the soldiers one another and keep together. Wow, said Jack. He closed to the book. He put out his notebook and he wrote, Drummer boy, really important job. Suddenly, John shouted, and Jack looked up from his notebook. A drummer boy was still asleep, but he was waving his arms as if he were having a nightmare, and Annie shook boy's arm. Wake up, John, she said. You're okay, wake up. And the drummer boy opened his eyes. You're having a bad dream, said Annie. You're safe now. You'll see your family again soon. No, no, the boy said. It sounds fantastic. I have to go to a battlefield. No, you have to fight anymore. You don't have to fight anymore, said Annie. You can go home and be safe. No, said the boy. They need me. They need my drum. He sounded more and more upset, and Jack wound up their things. Put aside your own feelings, he remembered. Okay, John, said Jack. You can go back as soon as you feel better. Jack, said Annie, he will get hurt or killed. I'm afraid of him. Me too, Jack said softly. But we have to put our own feelings outside, and we have an old thing in our list. Annie sighed. Okay, she said sadly. She looked at John. If you want to fight again in a civil war, you can, if that's what you really want. Thank you, the boy whispered. You know, you are the bravest kid I have never met, Jack said, and the German boy smiled at Jack. You look just my little brother, he said hoarsely. You just look like my big brother, said Jack, escaped. I don't have a big brother. I don't have any brothers. The three of them laughed, and the drummer boy laughed was soft, and a boy laid his head towards a pillow and closed his eyes again. And a moment it was keeping peaceful, and a smile was on my list, and Annie foot overhead. His flavors gone down, he said. We should go to and tell Kara. And Annie left in the tent, and Jack got up slowly, followed her, and he reached the entrance of the tent, and he turned it and looked back, and the shadows of the twilight fell across the boy's calm, sleeping face was changed, and Jack hurriedly looked at the drummer boy, but he felt they could be brothers. Listening of the cannon fire was distance, and Jack was afraid of the boy. Will he live to see his family again? Jack wondered. Good luck, John, Jack said softly. What a heavy hurt. Jack stepped into warm evening air. Now, chapter 9, Don't Give Up. And tomorrow we started at chapter 9, and I think we'll be end of reading the stories because I think the story will be the end of reading at chapter 10. Okay, and now tomorrow we see this book, but not this story because it's new chapter to read. And now, thank you for coming to my YouTube, and did you have fun? US English country come back with some this book, but not this story. I said that, and I'll say you again. The chapters are changing, okay? And tomorrow we'll be reading some new book and new stories, so you'll be excited. And now, please thumbs up my YouTube, and now bye for now, and have a nice